Alright, so today instead of doing a tall tales video, I'm going to do a general writing video. Because as it happens, I believe that there are exactly 2 rules for writing. And this is how I approach writing, and this is how I give writing advice when I've had opportunities to do so, is that I live by these 2 rules. And there's only 2 rules. One of them is about process, and one of them is about content. This video is going to be about process. Alright, so the writing rule concerning process is this, and it's actually pretty simple. The best way to write is the way that gets the words out of your head and onto the page. Now, here's what I mean by this, and I think that it's important that I clarify. You're going to get a lot of advice in writing spaces online where people are going to tell you things, and some of them are going to sound like advice, some of them are going to sound like rules. Some of these things are things like you have to write every day, or you have to write a certain number of words a day, or hey, maybe try changing the font that you're writing in, or changing what time you write during the day, or having a set place to write, or things like that. All of these things are good things, and they're useful for somebody. The question is whether or not they're useful for you. See, and the thing is, we get these things, and some of them are presented as rules, like the you have to write every day type of thing, and some of them are presented as advice, like the changing your fonts thing. But the problem is that we don't talk enough about what the criteria is for assessing these things and determining whether or not to do them. And that criteria is the rule, and that rule is that the best way to write at any given time is the method that takes the words out of your head and puts them onto your page. And one thing this means is that what's going to work for some people is going to be different than what works for others. Guess what? You don't actually have to write every day. I don't write every day. And the reason is that if I write every single day, I burn out. It doesn't matter how little I write. My brain works in a certain way where if I do this every single day, I very quickly run out of steam and just sit there staring at a blank page. And we sit there and we kind of glorify this idea of like, oh, half of writing is sitting and staring at a blank page. It's really not supposed to be. We're doing that because we're insisting on maintaining systems that hurt us, that burn us out, that make it too difficult. If you're sitting there staring at a blank page that's not working, what you need to do is step away for a period, refresh, regroup, and then return to the blank page and start filling it out again. We're too eager to glorify the struggle that comes about from holding ourselves to a bunch of rules that don't help us. And because of that, we end up with a lot more problems, we end up with a lot more exhaustion, we end up with a lot less writing actually getting done. So that's the rule. The rule is, whatever it is that gets the words out of your head and onto the page, that is the best way to be writing. And if it's not the same as what somebody else is doing, fine. That's not the point. The point isn't to write the same way that everyone else does. The point isn't to write at the same pace that everyone else does. The point is to get your story out there for people to read. That's the point. So focus on that. Not on maintaining all the right rules, not on maintaining the schedule. Focus on finding the way that gets you writing, that gets the words flowing. Analyze all the advice we get. Analyze all the things that they tell you about. Try some of them out. Try them out and see if they work for you, see if they help you or whatever. Maybe have times where you do some of them and times where you don't. Have a cycle. I have a playlist that I like to listen to. I can't listen to anything with words when I'm writing. It's distracting. And so I have a playlist that I've carefully curated on Pandora for years that only has instrumental music. And it has very specific types of instrumental music that really help me kind of get into the flow of writing. But guess what? Sometimes I don't use it. Some days I sit down to write and I know that this is just noise. It's just going to be noise to me today, and I don't use it. That happens. It's important to know what it is that works for you and what it is that doesn't. And the way you do that is that you have to have a system of assessment. And this is the system that I'm telling you.